Hey guys, happy Monday. We're out doing some running around today. I think Riley recorded some stuff, if I don't fall here on the ice. Recorded some stuff at our first stop, Harbor Freight. Now we're here at Hometown Logo, a great locally owned company. They do all our embroidery and our apparel stuff, like our shirts and hats. We've got some hats and a couple of shirts to pick up. We'll go in here and chat with Tyler and get that stuff picked up. If you need any apparel needs in the Wichita area, they've been great to work with. They were recommended to me by another local business. Been real happy with their customer service. He's always willing to try new stuff, different designs, and apply things to areas that on logos like apparel that just don't really fit. He's always willing to try it, and he's been great to work with. So we'll hop in here real quick, and here's their contact information on their door if you want to look them up.
Really, we're just a production facility, so we don't have a store, or we do have a storefront, but we don't sell any merchandise.
Right. It's just cool to see all the logos. Hello.
Yeah. Hi. This is Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi. Jen does all the embroidery. This is King.
They have a shop dog too. Yeah. We have a Raven. They have King.
He's very nice.
Hello.
Yeah, all the colors.
What do you think of that?
Perfect. Yeah, it looks great.
Hurts so good.
Yeah, Hurts So Good Fitness.
But I think seeing all the different samples and stuff that you guys do is pretty cool.
Yeah, especially like right here, this wall's.
Mm-hmm. A bunch of different stuff, schools and everything.
You gotta zoom in on those bad boys.
Yeah. There's the high dollar ones right there. Keeley, yep, yeah. There's Keeley, you got his. Genesis.
Yeah. Running anything right now,
right?
But yeah, there's some examples on the wall over there.
What's the difference between screen printing and the digital transfer, DTF, right?
Yeah.
So I've had people ask if we wanted DTF or screen. What's the real difference?
Okay, so the main difference is if you're DTFing something, I guess it doesn't really necessarily matter with your logo because it's not like extremely intricate. But like if you wanted to do like, say, if a logo had like, say, a splash of water, right? Like a wave, but it needed to look realistic and it needed to look like there was maybe like light coming off of it, you could do that because what's happening is the printer is just going to print a picture basically. You heat apply it, and because it's printing in ink, it's kind of a mix between screen print because it uses ink, but then you also heat apply it to the shirt.
Okay.
So if you can tell on screen print you only really usually only go up to about 5-6 colors.
Okay.
You know, I would say 90% of our businesses do 1 to 2 colors. You know, it's
Shelton and Dale came out and helped me, and we got that board in. They kind of came out here quicker than I was expecting, so I didn't get the camera turned on. Basically, what we ended up doing is we started on the front end up here, and we used a pry bar to kind of pull one side over, and then we started wedging that 2x8 down in there with a sledgehammer. And we worked our way back towards the back until we got about 6 foot of it stuck down in there. And then we came down to this end where this joint is, and we did the same thing here. And so we kind of had this bow thing going here in the middle. And then Shelton just worked with the sledgehammer going up as Dale and I stood on each end, and it finally dropped all the way down in there. So now it's time to chalk line all of our cross members. Like I had marked down earlier, we've got these paint marks all the way down the way here. Got one there, there's one there, all the way down the trailer. That's where we're going to end up screwing, running our screws across the trailer, across those cross members. Those are the cross members that don't have any previous screws in them, so it should go in quite a bit easier. So, let me get some chalk lines going, get some holes drilled, and we'll getting close to wrapping this part of it up. Still got to do some bearing and axle seal maintenance and that kind of stuff, but this trailer is getting fixed back up for another year of use. have to do the obligatory saw test. Old circular saw here from my now deceased father-in-law. We're going to use that to rip these boards down. We've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them to do maybe, I think. I've got some sawhorses set up here. You can kind of see we've got the boards laid in here where they're going to go. We'll get these ripped down. We'll use some pry tools to kind of get them tightened up. It's green treated lumber that we're using on this trailer. I'd priced or tried to find some white oak, which is a much better trailer decking, but it's really hard to find in this area. There was one sawmill close by that could get it. It was going to be insanely expensive, and no more than I use this trailer, I didn't see the benefit in that right now. If we have to do it again in a couple of years, fine. So anyway, we're using green treated lumber, 2x8s, and then one 2x6 for a space filler. We'll get this secured, tightened. Green treated lumber will shrink over time. Once it dries out more, it'll shrink and start to reveal gaps. And so you want to get that stuff as tight as you can to each other, so that when it shrinks, you end up with less gap. If you leave a gap in it to start with, then it will become very open. On a trailer, it's not as bad of a deal because it allows water and snow to run off and space for that to fall through. So first thing I'm going to do is get a couple of these boards pulled out that we're going to rip down. And I'm going to take a paint pen and go through and mark where my cross members are, so I don't have to guess at that or measure that later. We'll go through and mark those cross members where we want to screw into. I've got a chalk line over here that we will use to mark straight lines with and to marker boards for ripping them down. Table saw would be much better, but I didn't want to load up my table saw for that. So let me grab a paint pen and we'll get that marked. We want to secure at the end of each of them, which of course is where screws were to begin with, so we can't really avoid that. But on those other ones, it'll be less fighting. I can come through here and kind of mark where, if I can get this new paint pen to work here, go through and mark where the screw holes were on the old lumber in the cross member. On the vertical sense, so that way I can try to avoid that. So there was a screw there, there's a screw there, and we have a cross member right here. So I know that the screw holes are right in there, so if I can avoid that, it's just easier drilling. That one's open, it's a short span, I don't need those. So then we've got a screw there, and a cross member right there. So we know that those are marked. We'll do that exactly the same on the other side, so we can snap a chalk line across here. We know we're going to need to rip that one down and that one, and we'll just kind of keep repeating this process all the way down the trailer. Screw there, one there, and one there. Let me get all this marked out. We'll touch base with here in a second. Today we are on our way to do a quick repair on a dingo, a warranty repair on a Toro dingo. A hood latch broke on a new machine we sold a couple of weeks ago. Don't really know what caused that, but it doesn't matter. We're going to get this customer taken care of. So I've got a hood latch with me. We're running out to this local nursery and landscape division here in Wichita to get that replaced for him. And then I've got my weekly meeting. We are a member of BNI, have been for a little over a year now. BNI is a industry exclusive networking group of like-minded business owners that get together and help network to share and pass referrals. It has become quite the experience. This year I am the vice president of our chapter. We are the largest chapter in the Wichita area. It's technically, well, it is a international group, and so tag along with me. I'll show a little snippet of that meeting. Of course, we're not going to record it, but I'll try to get some footage of kind of our group and show a little bit of the chaos that ensues with that. So we're going to go put this hood latch on, head to that meeting, and then get back to the shop, finish up some paperwork stuff. I've been working on kind of reconciling some old accounts from the previous years where we, kind of a long story, but we were using QuickBooks for our accounting software side of things that did not integrate with our point of sale system. Last year, about midway through the year, we transitioned over to where everything does now integrate, but that created some issues with rolling everything over. So before the accountant gets a hold of it for year-end taxes, I've got to get some of these accounts cleaned up. So I'll get back to the shop later and get to working on that too. So tag along, we'll show you a couple of things as we go throughout the day today, and you can see a little bit of what it's like in my eyes of what I go through. So we'll check back soon. We're heading now to the B&I meeting. It's over lunch. Didn't really go into a whole lot of detail about it. Basically, it's business owners and what's the word I'm looking for? Business representatives. It's not just owners. But we get together, we share kind of what it is we're looking for specifically and what kind of referrals we want to help our business grow. And we get to know each other and trust each other as industry professionals to the point where we can trust that if we refer our friends or family or customers of ours to them, we know they're going to be taken care of. It works out really well. Our group shared over $8.2 million worth of business just last year in 2024 alone. So it's quite a bit of money that gets handed back and forth. Some get more than others depending on the trade or the business type. But it works out really well, I think, for everyone. I think we're up to 47 members now in our group now. There's a couple others in town that are breaking over that 40 mark. So it's pretty popular. We were invited by a customer of ours that is in there, and we appreciate that invitation. So let's get to this meeting, get caught up, take a breath, eat some lunch, and get back after it. So we'll check back soon. Hey guys, we're back out here at the trailer now. I got done with my B&I meeting, and now it's time to try to get through drilling through that one cross member that had the extra screws in it. The other cross members I marked that didn't have screws in it before, and hopefully those go a little better. I didn't really try them, but this front cross member that did have screws in it, I think I've been hitting some of those, and I forgot to mark some of them before we wedged that one long board down the center. So we got to kind of keep fighting through that and get those pilot holes drilled first, and then shoot some screws in there. We'll see how quick we can work through this. Beautiful weather today. It's like mid 40s. It's awesome t-shirt weather. After the weather we've been having, it's very welcome. So I'm gonna finish grabbing some of my stuff, get my knee pads on because my knees don't handle crawling around at all like they used to. This is awesome on my back. I'm sure my physical therapist will love to know I've been doing this. So let's get through this and just keep fighting one screw at a time. It's got to get done, and today's a great day to do it. This sure eats through the batteries trying to drill through this stuff. I am going to put my handle on my drill for it's normally used for hammer drill action. If you're not familiar, these Milwaukee drills, I'm sure others, come with this extra side handle. It's pretty nice to use if you've got to apply a lot of down pressure. I wasn't using it yesterday like a dummy. It'll help if I can get it unthreaded enough to fit around the collar here. Anyway, this should help with a little bit of the down pressure action. Apply a side handle to it and you can get both hands on it a lot better. So let me go grab those batteries and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got some holes drilled. I tried a couple of different things. I'm having to move away from where I would typically like to have the screws in the boards. So there's going to be extra holes in these boards, but whatever. It'll still work fine. We're going to end up sealing this with engine oil and diesel fuel, and so it'll seep in that hole and kind of seal that up anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm pre-drilling the wood where I want it, pull the bit out, clean it off, put some drilling fluid on it, and then go back in and pre-drill the metal. So I've got a couple of these drilled. We can shoot some screws in, and we'll re-drill this one here, kind of show you what I'm talking about. So we've got the hole pre-drilled there. We'll change down to slow speed on the drill, drilling fluid or cutting fluid on the bit, and then just steady down pressure. So I can tell that there is a screw underneath that because that bit is not biting at all. So we'll switch over, move to a different location, re-drill that hole, more fluid, switch back to slow speed. So that bit's starting to bite on this one. So we're just going to keep applying that down pressure. Like I said, using that side handle on this drill, and that bit just broke. So it's a struggle. We'll keep fighting through it. Don't really have a lot of choice. We got to at least finish these set of boards right here. And then once we move on to the next row, we should be into cross members that don't have screws in them. So I'll get some pliers and vice grips, get that bit out of there. Probably shoot some screws in these others that were accomplished before we started recording again, and grab another drill bit and move on. Aha! We got through our camera difficulties. So you look at all these paint pen marks. This is when I pulled that board up, that's where all previous screws were along this line. So I've got to avoid all of these paint lines throughout here. So some of these boards that I pre-drilled, I just kind of guessed where I thought they might be, which I shouldn't have done. I should have marked it. So I'm going to re-drill where I want to put screws and try to avoid all of these marks somehow. Decking a trailer is never fun. This isn't exactly how to, because obviously I still run into issues. I'm not a professional trailer builder, but this is how I do it. So if anybody can learn some tips from how not to do it, that's probably this video. Let me re-drill these. We'll get some holes punched in this metal and we'll keep moving on.